What's up, guys? Welcome back to My Two Cents. I'm here with my boy Sean.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Second week in a row.
Yeah, Justin.
All right, we're being consistent. I'd like to thank Jonathan Phillips, owner of Max Muscle Huntington Beach, fully tested products. Had him on the show. Have him on the show, I think, next week, guys. Trying to get him back on here, talk about some supplementations again. Check him out at Max Muscle Huntington Beach. The only products I use, fully tested products. Great for MLB, NFL, all band-controlled groups. Olympics, Worldwide Anti-Doping Agency, safe for all sports, NCAA and QIG tested. And he also has several exclusive brands found only at Max Muscle Huntington Beach. So, guys, check him out. And he's also like one of the smartest dudes I know. So always check out Jonathan Phillips for information and on all your supplements. What's up, man?
Happy Sunday, Justin.
Happy Sunday. Welcome back.
Yeah, likewise. Nice cadence, like you mentioned before. This is our second week in a row, so hoping to get these out more regularly, right?
Yeah, I know. Just being consistent is key as usual. Let's get right into it. You sent me a link yesterday. I didn't get a chance to look through it too much. It's about recreational weed policy, Trump's stance, the Attorney General's stance on it, and what's been happening.
Yeah, of course, and I appreciate the setup. It's something I know you and I talked about politics a little bit more last week. And kind of backing up a moment, you and I feel like have done a good job in the past not really getting into politics, and now seemingly, like we said last week, they're unavoidable, right?
For the most part, yeah, it seems that way.
Yeah,
sure.
So just to catch people up who may not have been paying attention, which I totally
which is me as well. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, we could do it at the same time, to be honest. I'm with most of you, which is great to have Sean check and research this stuff because I'm horrible at it. So I'm actually pretty curious of what's going down as far as this goes.
It also helps that I sit in front of a computer like most of the day.
Most of the time.
When you're training, you can't really readily Google stuff. But yeah, kind of giving people a background, there's this guy, Jefferson Beauregard Sessions. So he's named after not one, but two Confederate generals. And in the 80s, I guess he's been a senator in Alabama for a long time. And in the 80s, he was up for a judge post under Reagan, and he was deemed too racist to be a judge.
Okay.
And so fast forward from the 80s to 2016, 2017, and he was Trump's nominee for the attorney general position. He's recently come under a lot of fire for his contact with Russians, because that's been a big deal in politics lately.
Right.
Have you been hearing about that stuff too?
No.
But I think Justin, by insulating himself, is becoming a happier person.
You know, I think the first thing is that I haven't had enough hours yet to really check out what goes on. And it honestly, like, I think I got such a foul taste from what happened with the election and the way everything goes about that I think I personally avoid it, to be honest. Like, if I see it on social media or even Facebook for that matter, because that's what's great about Instagram. Nobody posts really about politics at all on Instagram, which I love.
Right. Or it's just funny.
Yeah, or it's just funny, like little memes. But Facebook became such a weird obsession with stuff. I found myself more so actually unfollowing 90% of the people that kept posting about it.
Yeah, so Justin's done a great job of insulating himself. Dayla and I have the same problem, man. Like, we watch too much, The Daily Show or Colbert or John Oliver on HBO, and we get sometimes a little depressed. So
yeah,
I definitely get the whole checking out part. But
what's going on is also pretty good though too. So yes. It's good that you're checking in and making dumbasses aware like me what's going on. That's also
but yeah,
important.
That is a topic that you and I are rather passionate about, medical and recreational marijuana. And so why I wanted to get into it is Sessions, before the whole Russia thing, came out and said he was going to crack down federally on recreational marijuana. So a federal judge contacted the Cannabis Cup in Vegas and warned them against having their annual competition because federally they may come under more heat. And so my big thing, kind of what I wanted to get into, was a lot of people on the Trump supporter side like him because he's the, quote, business candidate. And the stats really align for the legalization of marijuana from a business standpoint, because the numbers right now, they're estimating 28 to 30 billion in federal, state, and local tax revenues for the United States. Yeah. And they've said that if it went legal, it would create 250,000 new jobs. So in my opinion, it's like this would solve a whole ton of problems because the government would get more money, it would help the deficit, and make people more employed.
What do you think is the problem still then? If the money's there and the jobs are there, what do you think is the problem?
That's a good question. I think it's still the stigma. And, Jefferson Sessions is a bit older. He's probably like in his 70s. And outside of the hippies that are that age, there's still like this huge group that was, pro-Vietnam War, anti-drugs of all kinds.
Right.
And so those people, in my opinion, come back into power and then try to put their will on the rest of the people, even if that's against what the majority of people in America think.
Right. Yeah. It's just lack of knowledge still. I think it's still taboo that most people, and because me and you are from such open-minded places, you being from Austin and me being from California, which is now legal recreationally, which is really, really gnarly. Are you guys legal recreationally yet?
We aren't. That's another great question. Texas is technically a decriminalized state. I looked this up. And so what that means is Texas as a state has the option of either prosecuting marijuana crimes, quote unquote,
or not,
or giving a ticket. And
it seems like a little too much leeway, freedom for people to sometimes be a prick and sometimes not be a prick.
Well, and that's what it says in the law. It's like, this is under circumstances. Like they can, if you're selling weed and like toting a gun, like obviously you're going to get prosecuted.
But if you're smoking a weed outside your house, they're not fucking with you. That's how it was with California pretty much for like the last 10 years. Because that's how, they really didn't mess with you if you're even like walking down the street smoking a joint. But yeah, I guess as long as you're not selling it like you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Rolling around with pounds of marijuana in your car, like you're probably not going to get a ticket.
Selling it.
But that's what's funny is the only county in Texas that takes them up on that option to give a ticket is Travis County, which is where Austin is.
That's so strange.
Yeah, so don't get caught with weed outside of Austin.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think it'll keep making the strides that it's been making marijuana. I think more people are realizing how the benefits on it and how great it really is on so many different levels. Just so many different levels. I think it always comes down to money. I think any type of person that doesn't see this, it always comes down to finances. And I think it's, like how you list that the money is there and the jobs are there. I think it just for them to actually be swayed, it's always got to be just more money because like what I just mentioned earlier, like pharmaceuticals are still bringing in so much more money for them. I think that's always what it comes down to is a money's game.
And you and I were talking about it a bit before we started. What was the figure that?
Don't quote me, but I think the pharmaceuticals are around like 600 billion, and like
it's a huge industry.
Yeah, and they their payoffs I heard like through like documentaries are like 7 billion, 8 billion. So it's like they just throw money at anything they want because it's so much money.
Right.
That's probably why there's a push. They're probably getting heat that they were actually making this much money, that they made 28 billion and they created jobs. It's like, well, they're blowing up too fast. Let's shut them down. Because that's what it always comes down to is who has more money and,
Right. Yeah. Follow the money, so to speak.
Yeah. It's pretty fascinating. Hopefully people don't fall for the bullshit with the taboo with marijuana and become more enlightened and more aware and do their own research. So we can pass the laws that give us the fucking rights to smoke what we want to smoke during the day and, medicate ourselves without being, like, told what to take all the time. And
right.
I think it's just another transition that's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Is there anybody left in California that's, like, anti-marijuana? Or are you guys just living the dream, pretty much?
I would definitely say... there's so many foreigners that come through here, and they actually, believe it or not, they still come through and they're interested in marijuana and stuff like that. But a lot of them still have never done it. Even my other friends from other parts of the United States. If you go to the East Coast, where it's more upstate New York and it's more country and it's more simple people. If they do it, it's like, oh, we're doing it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a huge thing. They haven't done it forever. They get so ripped, it's hilarious.
One hit and they're just passed out on the
couch. Gone. I think also most people still think that you just get stoned too. They haven't. I mean, if they're open to do it, it's just strictly get stoned. Still, I think it's still very. Just it's not known that you can use it for multiple things as far as focus and being creative, right. and that's, I think, also very limited. I think most people don't even know that you can express yourself that way through marijuana. And I think that's just going to take more and more time of people just showing that, hey, you can be creative with it too. It's not even just the medical side of it. Right. The creativity side is yet to even be talked about, which is what I try to promote for the most part, because everyone's always like, why do you even have your medical marijuana card? Well, it's for strictly to focus and be creative, and I don't have a medical problem. So it's, you know what I mean? I had to say I had a medical problem.
Well, and you're right.
I couldn't,
my back. Oh, here's
my
the
back.
prescription.
Yeah, or like, oh, I need help sleeping, which is, you know, I still smoke it to help me sleep better, but I didn't need help sleeping. But you know, I think that's one thing, like marijuana, once it gets taught to be creative, like once they're showing like openly, hey, like this is what I do to write music, or hey, this is what I do to draw one of my best pieces, or paint, or you know, just brainstorm. That's one of my favorite things to do. Like when I went to the beach yesterday, me and Steph started writing out.
For India, right?
For India,
the
yeah.
Seminars you guys are doing?
Yeah, the seminars in India. It's like the first thing I did was, you know, smoke some weed, go to the beach, and then it allows me to get more in depth and more creative through marijuana, and just fire ideas out, and then those ideas just keep rolling into other ideas. So sure. I think we're all in the right movement. I think it's going to keep growing, and I honestly like the fact that it is now recreationally legal in California. I don't know. Colorado's another one. Do you know any other ones?
It's actually, I want to say 28 states total have either legalized it medically, recreationally, or decriminalized it, and that includes Washington, D.C. So just rambling them off, it's like California, Oregon, Washington, Colorado. I believe like Vermont and New Hampshire, one of those two. DC's decriminalized. I know that like you saw Nashville and Tennessee, which is like in the heart of the Bible Belt, is decriminalized as well. So
yeah, it's not as, and even when I went there, I brought my pen, and I thought for sure I was going to be the only one smoking. And before I knew it, the entire wedding, everybody
was lifted
from elder to like, you know, 18-year-old. Everybody was just smoking weed. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah. Well, I think I wanted to mention earlier you had made a note about how, you know, you had to go into the medical marijuana facility and like get a prescription and whatnot. And you were like, you know, I don't have anything wrong. And other people go in for the normal, like, oh, my back hurts, or I have insomnia, the usual stuff you hear with weed. I think we're behind. Like, in my opinion, we're behind scientifically, where I think in maybe, you know, 10, 20, 30 years, you could go in if it was still an issue and say, you know, I need to be more creative, or, you know, for me personally, like it's really helped managing stress.
Is it the fact that you still need a fucking doctor's prescription to like let you smoke marijuana? It's a plant. It's actually ridiculous. I don't think it'll stay there very long. I honestly think that marijuana is moving at such a fast pace now that before you know it, it's going to be very, very common walking down the streets. I think within the next 5 years even, it's going to be no longer a thing. I think most people are going to be like, I want to grow mine eventually, and now I can legally grow, which is fantastic.
There's like a number of plants, right?
Exactly. So like that's the next thing, is just grow my own and be done with it. It's going to be pretty sweet. I think it'll be there in the next 5 years. I think it's going there pretty fast.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think states like Texas and other southern states, once they see the amount of money California is bringing in and taxes, they're going to be like, okay, light it up, pun intended.
It's just so crazy that they that's what they have to wait for is let's see if the money shows up, which is what puts everything to a halt for the most part. It's what stops us from continuously growing as like a community, even if you want to like label us as our country even. It's like, it really is. It's like when it comes to it, it's always just about, all right, well, how much money can make us. It's not about like, no, how much better it could be as a community if we allow this, or make at least people knowledgeable of like what its possibilities are. And then, you know, it's just strange, the approach that we have, or the system.
Yeah. Have you ever looked into hemp? too?
No,
like
I haven't. I mean, I've read about some of the amazing benefits, like even hemp protein. That's where I would probably double with, a vegan or a hemp protein if I were to ever get into making my own protein. That would probably be the avenue I would go, or at least research it. Yeah, I mean the benefits. I mean, you told me about a while back of like hemp paper became even illegal just because the paper companies at a certain time was just propaganda on like marijuana and like it's
yeah. And I encourage people to look that up too. Like if you Google like Hearst paper hemp, it'll get into William Randolph Hearst, who was the paper magnate back in the day, and he was really anti-hemp because it was going to challenge his paper mills and whatnot. Also, I watched your and Steph's, Day in a Life video, which was fantastic with Mai Tai Productions. Shout out to them. And you were making that salad with the good fats and healthy fats, and like hemp seeds are another example of like a great way to get your HDLs.
That's fucking, yeah. It's so funny, even I forget about all the amazing, there's hundreds of things. There's absolutely hundreds of things that marijuana
It's not
does.
as hard as they say.
No, it's pretty cool. I mean, I could totally, and what's funny is too, is like, it's like anything else too. I think most people, when they first smoke weed, it's a little bit of an overwhelming process. Because you can easily smoke too much, and not feel comfortable for the most part, or feel like people can tell that you're stoned. I think that's the most feedback I get when I hear people talk about smoking weed. If they don't like it, if they're a person that doesn't like to feel high, and it's more so they feel more uncomfortable, like the fact that they're around people and that people may feel like they're too stoned or not as intelligent stoned, like they feel like they're being judged. That's the biggest feedback I get when it comes to people smoking only a few times in their life, like that paranoia.
What's your response to that? When they're like, I think other people think I'm high. Yeah.
I go, well, I think that you just get to the point where like you realize that nobody cares that you're high. That for one, like it's and I think that goes into everything. That's what stops us from doing everything. It's like the fear of whatever people think, and that just ties into even when you're smoking, and it like amplifies that. So if you already feel like, say you're going over a friend's house and you never smoked weed, the last thing you want to do is smoke weed with a bunch of people you never smoked weed with, because you put yourself in a vulnerable situation. And so then you can smoke it a little bit and just create that vulnerable situation. You can manifest it to where like it's amplified and it's not even there. Like no one's even paying attention to you. Everyone's just doing their own thing. But that seems to be the most common thing that happens with most people that smoke marijuana for the first time. So I always try to make them as comfortable as possible by letting them know, like, no one's even paying attention to you, man. You can't even tell. And if you are high, stupid, and you get sleepy, fall asleep. Nobody cares.
Right.
Nobody cares. I think that's the biggest thing, is just confirming that nobody gives a shit. Have fun. Figure out what it feels like to be stoned. Like, see if you actually like it by like giving it a chance, and see if you could be creative with it by giving it a chance. And like I had one person, like, I don't know how you smoke, before the gym. I took a hit off a joint and I was way too high. I'm like, well, how much did you smoke? He's like, I did about 10 pulls. I'm like, dude, you're on cloud 9. You're like,
exactly.
So like there's so many different variations of highness, I guess, quote unquote, or levels. Like I can't make it clear. I've mentioned it many times. When I microdose, I'm not trying to get stoned. I use it as a different tool for that moment, for that event, whatever it is I'm doing. Having sex on it is phenomenal. So there's a certain amount to smoke that I liked when I'm having sex, so it can elevate my sexual fucking life and all that kind of stuff. There's like so many different things you can use in it, and the amount for each thing is completely different for all things.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest thing is letting people know, is like just give it a chance by playing with the microdosing and smoking on your own time to really figure out the best thing that for you and the way it works. Is just like anything else. There's also a tolerance thing too. I think most people aren't aware of, is building that tolerance, because I think almost every time, the first time anybody smokes, whether it's a little bit or they're too big of a hit, they're just they peace out for the most part. And I think for most people, they don't want to be uncontrolled. Feel uncontrollable.
Right. Yes. Yes. Exactly. I think that's a huge point. You mentioned earlier, you making people feel comfortable in a space, even to the point of like, hey, if you need to pass out, like it's all good.
For sure.
I completely agree with. I used to follow Snoop Dogg on Instagram, and late at night he'll have like these classic old rappers that you remember from the 90s that were like part of him and Dr. Dre, that whole group. and they'll be passed out, and he'll be like filming them on Instagram being like, ha ha ha, they smoked too much and now they're out. So like cold. Even Snoop's like, just pass out at my place, I don't care.
Right, it's exactly. It's like we had a get together last week and a girl smoked too much. She's like, hey, I just need to fucking lay down. I'm like, go do your thing. She laid down. 20 minutes later, she came back. She was like, and she couldn't stop apologizing. She's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, man, that's normal.
We've all been there.
We've all been there. I've had to go home before because I've hit a pipe one time, just one time. That was at your house. I was like,
oh yeah, you disappeared.
Yeah, I was like, how the fuck am I gonna get home? I was like, I think I was just starting to smoke weed really recreationally, and I remember going to your house, and it was just a regular fucking pipe too. It wasn't a bong, it wasn't wax, it wasn't anything insane. And I remember I hit this thing, and literally as I inhaled or as I exhaled, I was completely
gone.
Bombed. I was like, what the fuck was that? I'm like, I even said, I'm like, yo, like that was just normal weed. Like that was just normal. That felt like a bong hit, you know? Like I remember the first time I've had my first real fucking bong rip. It sent me to outer space. Like to such a level of almost like psychedelic feeling, you know?
Yes.
It was. Me and Steph went over a friend's house, and we both did a bong rip. And literally, as I, again, blowing out, and there's like, this is before I got high off your tiny baby pipe at your house. This is like, no joke. Like, I hit a bong hit, and as I blow out, I was like, oh, fuck, Steph's fucked. Because she was hitting it as I was like holding it in and passed it to her.
Uh-huh.
And then right away I was like, oh no, like she was dumb. We were both, and like, but we also had one of the coolest experiences of all time. So we were at my two friends' house, and they're explaining, and these guys are super, super like far out cats. You know what I mean? They're very, very
sort of like the hippie type.
Yeah, like they're really, really far out, very intuitive, super sweet, and they like kind of watch from afar. You know what I mean? Like they dip in, they dip out. For the most part, they're on the road, they're doing their own thing. But they still keep tabs on like people they like to follow and, you know, keep in touch with. And me and Steph were
really cool.
Yeah, me and Steph were two of those people they kept tabs on. And so every now and then we would go over and see them and catch up. And it was cool because they would keep really good tabs on us for the most part. And they were like, oh yeah, we've been following you guys, and we noticed that you're doing this, this, and this. And we see, and they knew me from for quite a few time, quite a bit before I even met Steph. So they knew my personality, and they know who I am and where I come from, and like even my previous relationship. So like they could see how I evolved through time, meeting Steph and even becoming more of a quote unquote pothead and understanding how things work. So they get to see a lot of this. But when me and Steph hit these bong rips, me and Steph immediately were both in the same like mind state, like completely gone, but completely almost. It was almost like a psychedelic feeling. We were completely focused at the same time on whatever it is they were saying and going through and talking about. And it was like one of the coolest experiences ever, for one, because it felt like almost like hypnotized. It was, you know, and
like hyper focused.
Yeah, man, it was like just that's all it was. And they're explaining this story that they got to watch from the outside in of me and Steph, and it was like repainting the entire thing while being on this high, and being like literally left there. We were like, what the fuck just happened? And this is like when Steph just started smoking weed. It's probably maybe her second time. I'm not joking. Second or third time, takes a bong rip, goes into Never Never Land. But then you know you're like, it was one of the coolest experiences ever, and that was like strictly from just a nice bong hit. Yeah,
and I think sometimes to that point, it's nice to get out of one's comfort zone from time to time, whatever that might be. Like if that's training or learning something new for work. I do want to go back for a moment to the party that you mentioned you were at, because that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And it was, for people listening, it was a party way back. It was like a birthday party, I think, for me. And we were throwing a big party at my apartment.
It was almost like
having people over.
6 years ago.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, because I was still dating the girl I was with at the time. Yeah, it was like 5-6 years ago. Came over, everyone's pre-gaming almost, just smoking, having a few drinks before we walked downtown. I think you guys were going to Abbot Kinney or something like that for a second. Yeah,
well, I think it was either Abbot Kinney or Maine, because we lived.
I was also.
Yeah, I was also in my previous relationship, and we lived a couple blocks down from Maine, where that big CVS is with the clown, crazy clown ballerina. And so Justin comes in, you know, we're boys. And so I'm like, yo, what's up, dude? Da, 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 da. And so, you know, like Justin said, we're smoking and pre-gaming. And then I like hand you the pipe, which is a normal pipe. You took a hit. I think we talked for a little bit. And then I like made the rounds in the party and you were gone. Nowhere to be seen. And like, you're difficult to miss in a party. So I was like, where the fuck is this guy? And then I think you texted me and you're just like, I think you were like, man, I've had to repark my car like 5 times. I can't do this.
It was nuts. I remember hitting the pipe as I'm exhaling, completely shit bombed right off the hit. And I was like, holy shit. And then it kept climbing. Like it was climbing like rapidly. And I was like, well, I have to excuse myself now because there's no way I can properly function.
Very mature of you. Yeah, I'm just going to let myself out.
Yeah, I totally lied too. I was first like, hey, listen, I'll totally meet you guys out there. I just got to run home real quick. And then I was like, once I got home, I was like, oh, I'm so glad I'm home. And then I could enjoy the high, actually. I was actually home. I felt secure and comfortable. Right. And then I just sat in my chair and I was like, holy shit, I've never been this high of a fucking pipe hit. Actually, that was before. Yeah, the bong hit. So like, yeah, like I didn't get really that high again until like the bong hit later with Steph. But yeah, high moments.
Good times. That's where it all began.
I think everybody gets ridiculously high at least once in their life when they first get into marijuana, and I think most people that scares the shit out of them too. Like to get to that edible high. The edible high is like. Oh, the gnarliest thing ever. I know how to handle it much better now. It definitely changes you as a human. Going through an edible high, like you have a certain respect for things, a mental respect for things too. Like you have to mentally get through that shit.
Oh
you won't die from it at all, ever. But man, you like mentally have to really get through an edible high. It's like if you ate too many brownies, it's for real.
To that point, when I was still living in L.A., my ex and I took some edibles, and then we went to see The Help, that movie that won like a couple Oscars back in the day. And literally, Justin, the movie ended, and we looked at each other, and we were like, the movie can't end now. Like, I don't think we can get up and leave the theater.
That's
need
the
the
worst
movie
when
to continue.
You can't get up. It's so true. Like Joe Rogan mentions on his podcast, I was like, that shit ain't regulated. There's some hippie dude with like some long ass hair in the back of his shop. He can't remember that he put the butter in yet, or he didn't. So he just puts it in again, and now there's like 3 times the amount of fucking cannabis in there, like cannabis butter, and like you eat a quarter of this, you're just going the fucking Never Land. That's how it is too. Sometimes it's fucking. I've bought these Rice Krispie treats, and I'm like, oh, how's it? Like, oh, you can eat the whole thing. And it's like the most beautiful, perfect. No, this one would be like a perfect, ride. It'd be like, all right, cool, and like had a great time, watched the sunset, great thoughts, learned some shit, slept like a baby, and then it's like I buy that same fucking Rice Krispie treat and I eat half of it. And I'm like completely to the point. I'm like, whoa, bro, this is way too much. Like to where I'm doing the rocking. I'm like, this is just way, way too much, because it just digests completely differently, in the stomach, and like people don't realize like edibles are a totally different animal than smoking. That's one thing I can't stress clear enough.
Right.
They just
because it's entering the body differently, so it's being digested. It's not going through simply the lungs. And I do want to point out for people that are listening that may not be like as pro marijuana, this is not dissimilar to people that go out and get fucked up on a weekend.
Alcohol. Yeah, with alcohol. Yeah.
But like you go home and you're just like, I just want to be by myself. Whereas someone drinking might like get in a car, get into a fight or something. Yeah. Like if you're super jacked on an edible, you're just like, I need to find a place to lay down. I don't know.
Yeah, usually just pass out anyway, and you go through a moment of like, holy shit, this is insane. But you still learn some shit, which is great. You know what I mean? Like I've learned how to actually like deal with that uncomfortable feeling. That in itself, believe it or not, and most people maybe this doesn't make sense to, but that's a lesson in itself for me. Understanding how to deal with like a situation of being uncomfortable. And then just working through that. For me, that's helped me with like outside of it. You know what I mean? Like all said and done. Like just simple things like that. But
that's a great point. In just life in general, like Guy Ritchie, the director who did Snatch and Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, those movies, he has like 3 tenets that he lives by, and one of them is be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think that's huge. believe it or not, like that was huge for me. I think marijuana helped me with that a lot. Accidentally, of course. With being uncomfortable with edibles.
One of the side effects.
One of the side effects was like, holy crap! Like, this is some real stuff. It's and I've like I think I've only felt like not uncomfortable, but I've gotten ridiculously high off the bong hits too. It's like I don't know how people do consistent bong hits every day. That just sends me to a different place a lot of times.
I
like the regular flower and a little bit of pipe work, and that's about it.
The one time at your place, that's like my gold medal in smoking. When you and I had a bong and like went around a couple times and no one else wanted to take it, and you and I just kept going back and forth. And you were like, that's like number 7 or 8, and I was like, yeah, we're good.
Some nights it's just fun to go there.
Yeah, so that was my claim to fame, being able to keep up with Justin and be totally fine. Everybody else was done.
I know, usually it's just one and done. That's the truth for most people. So, any new news on possibly moving, finding a place? How's that all working out?
Oh, yeah, I appreciate that. And thank you, too, because I know we could talk about marijuana forever. And it's been like 30 minutes. But, yeah, so on top of that, the last couple of days, we have a neighbor who's directly above us who is playing super loud music. And long story short, Dayla went up there a couple times the other night, was like, hey, I'm a nurse. Like, I need to be up at 5. Can you guys turn it down? And the guy was a complete dick. And so we've talked to the leasing office, and we're potentially looking to move to the top floor to eliminate at least people being on top of us. I mean, that's kind of what, it's not unusual in apartments or condos. With houses, do you guys ever have noise complaints or violations around you? I know you guys get like homeless people from time to time, but
that's really about it. With us, just the crazy ass homeless people for the most part, because I live in a corner house. I think I'm also the loud neighbor out of the neighbors. So
you're the one.
I'm the one if there's an issue. But yeah, I remember that. I mean, that's the apartment life too. It's one of those things where it's like, it's cool that you're moving up top, because that'll save a lot of hassle. It's crazy that the guy was such a fucking dick, huh?
It's shocking. I loved your comment last week where you were like, whoever pulled the fire alarm should be deported. Like, that guy should be kicked out of the country.
Yeah, that guy should be kicked out. People that just cause problems aren't, understanding of other people's shit, and they're like, it's strange how like you can go up and express like what you do even as a living. Like the fact that she mentions that she's a nurse and like she needs to get up early and she's expressing kindly, and then just shit doesn't matter. Right. That still baffles me. That guy needs to smoke a joint.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And I think what we talked about in the last episode was trying to find ways around challenges. So we can rail against this guy all we want. We could probably call the cops, which we have on some neighbors in the past who were acting in a similar manner. But I'm a big fan of like, okay, how do I fix this? Like, I can complain all day long. And so that's where we start talking about, well, options. What if we moved? Yeah, where could we move, et cetera?
Yeah. I think it'll work out really good. It always does. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that. One thing I wanted to bring up in your world is I saw the tiptoeing in my Jordans video. And so I wanted to get into your shoe preferences, where they are now between like Kobe's, Jordans, and then I don't know if we've ever talked about it, but I'm a huge sneakerhead, so I get into like all the materials that are used in the shoe.
Yeah, I'm completely the opposite. I appreciate the way the shoe looks and feels only. Like, I don't know what number Jordan I have, and everybody asks me that, and I'm like, I can't tell you. I have no idea, and like I don't even know where to go look for what number my Jordan is.
If I had to guess, people that have asked Justin, because it's difficult now, right? Like Jordans, there's like 31 or 32 or 33 in the line. Like, that's how many there are. But there's offshoots because Jordan is its own brand.
Right.
And this is fucking crazy. Out of every sale, so like the shoes you bought, the Jordan shoes, 50% goes to Nike, the company, and 50% goes to Michael Jordan, the individual.
Yeah, he makes that much money. I hear he makes so much money off of Nike. Like, he makes more money in a year off him than his whole career as a basketball player, something crazy like that.
Yeah.
I've heard.
Yes, yeah, pretty much. And so the shoes you bought, I think, are like a Jordan trainer, or they might be like a Jordan lifestyle offshoot.
Oh yeah.
And so I don't know if it's.
Yeah, exactly. The reason why I went with the Jordan is just because for pure comfort. They're like probably the most comfortable shoe that I bought, along with the Kobe 9s. Like, those were really comfortable. And the Jordan, I can wear those. The reason why I stopped going with Kobe's is like the Kobe's are literally good like once every 5 months to fucking wear with whatever outfit you can piece together with this loud, cool shoe. Like, I appreciate them, but it's like you only can really piece them together with something once in a blue moon. And wearing in the gym's great too. Good lifting shoe because it's a flat shoe. So like if anybody wants to know, like good lifting shoe, Jordans are a good lifting shoe, Chucks. And the Kobe's because they were all nice flat shoes, basketball shoes, and those were always my go-to. Kobe 9s are still one of the most comfortable shoes to this day, but the Jordans are just unbelievably comfortable too. So I started buying those.
Yeah, I'll have to send you some links of the Kobe's that aren't as loud because I wear them to play basketball in.
Yeah, they're
That's
good.
Sort of my favorite shoe forever. Yeah, exactly. And so I think you might like the Kobe 11s.
I just sold all 3 of my Kobe's. Did you know that?
I saw that. Yeah, you had them up. I almost got in there. I was like,
you almost bought them?
Yeah, I was like, friends and family. Could I get in? Because I wear them for the high top ones. I wear for festivals.
Yeah, that's true.
The feet are great.
Yeah, I was like a little sad letting them go at first because they were the guy got them. He's like, man, these are like in perfect condition. And I'm like, yeah, they're really good. Like, I was a little sad watching them go. My other buddy bought them, my other Kobe's off of me literally at the gym. I was at the gym. And he goes, you want to sell those? So then you walked home with socks. Yeah, I'm like, well, I had sandals in my car, I think. I'm like, he's like, you want to sell those? I'm like, all right, yeah, sure. Make me offer right there. I took them right off. I put my sandals on. I'm like, here you go. And that was it. Like, that's how I bought. He's like, that's how I bought this other pair of shoes I had too. Just coming at the gym. I told him I had like $200 on me. I bought the shoes off him.
Yeah. I bought a pair of Kobe's from a friend. Same thing. Like, I went in his house and saw him, and I was like, hey, I didn't know you had Kobe's. And he was like, yeah, I'll sell them to you. Like, how much you got? And he started lowering himself because he was never going to use them. He's like, 200, 150, 100.
He just wanted to move them. Yeah, they were just taking up space. I'm trying to downsize. I'm trying to, that's one of the things I've been doing lately is trying to simplify even the stuff that's in my house. So that's the reason why I started looking into remove some of the just shoes and even like products. Even like
go more minimalist route.
Yeah, it keeps things much cleaner. I can like even yesterday, like we wanted to. I had to go get some new Chucks because I go through Chucks like every 6 weeks because that's pretty much what I wear predominantly when I train, and so does Steph. And so we you end up keeping shoes over a bit of time without realizing it. And even last night, she's like, "Hey, you want to get some shoes? Some Chucks?" She said you needed some Chucks. I'm like, "Yeah, but I got to throw out like 5 pairs because there's no room to bring in another pair, like either not throw up but donate." So we just bring them to the gym. We put them in the drop box, the donation box, whatever shoes we have.
Nice.
But I'm like, you have to do the same thing. There's no room. If you want to get a pair of shoes, you got to like go through and like let's donate these shoes so we can make room. So like we had to make a huge pile of like just old Chucks. And we just go to, and then Ross is the best place. Went to Ross, picked up 2 new pairs of Chucks, super cheap. They last forever.
Shout out to Ross.
Ross is the best place, man. I get so many good things from there. So many fucking elephant knickknacks are
there you go
from Ross. And even then, I was like, all right, I have enough elephant knickknacks from Ross. I started downsizing my elephant knickknacks.
I don't know if you can never have enough. I'm going over to my parents' place later today. My dad's a huge elephant fan, and I've never shown you his collection of little elephants. Like 2 to 4 inch big ones. So I'll send you a photo. Oh yeah, huge. And he like has different herds in the house. Seriously, there's like 10 elephants in one table, and then like over in another table there's like another 5 elephants.
I couldn't do. I think Steph would kill me if I did that. Like every time I look at like a new piece, I'm like, oh, that looks great, and she's like, no, we already have way too many. Like it's becoming weird. Like. Like you don't need that many anymore. And then what's funny is that my buddy Lee, who's been on the podcast one time, he got Steph a present for her birthday, and he gets her a bottle of wine that was like that Justin wine. Have you seen it before? Where it's like
yeah.
So he gets her a bottle of wine that says Justin on it, and then he got her a wine holder that's this elephant that's on its back that holds the bottle of wine.
Oh, that's great.
But it's so funny because it's something I would get for my present. Like I go, you got her a present that was for me. And he started dying because he's like, I totally did. I was like, what would she like? Something like that reminded her of Justin. So he gets her an elephant and a bottle of wine with my name on it. And I was like, man, that is just so funny because she did not want another bottle of, not a bottle of wine. Of course she'd want that, but not another elephant in the house. But it's actually really cute. It's actually our favorite wine holder now. It's a good one.
So it's adding to your herd. It's totally fine. You got a lot of time left to collect them.
A lot of time. What else you got on the list?
Yeah, I appreciate that. One thing I wanted to mention, and this is from a comment from Big Old Jared on Instagram on one of my posts. He asked why we moved away from SoundCloud and like just more information behind that. And I preface this with, I personally love the YouTube channel. I mean, you guys are growing like crazy. Yeah. I texted Steph the other day. I would say the same thing about you. Like the presence on screen and in the media that you guys do is fantastic. You guys have improved a ton. And so I love the YouTube channel, but obviously there's people out there that are like, you know, listening on SoundCloud.
Yeah, I was just telling Steph the other day, we're actually going to be uploading the other episodes that we didn't, I think 18 and 19, right, on SoundCloud. Right. We're putting those up on SoundCloud. I told Steph, let's keep it, because I saw that same exact post. So we'll keep those uploading on SoundCloud as well as YouTube. So for all the people that were asking, for sure, we're bringing that back, and we'll put those on SoundCloud so you guys won't miss a beat.
Awesome. Thank you.
Be good. Yeah, I know. I saw that comment and I told Steph, I'm like, yo, can we still keep this going on SoundCloud? So yeah, we'll probably try to upload those maybe today on SoundCloud, the 17 and 8 or 18 and 19, and then this episode as well.
And I think the issue there is that SoundCloud allows one to stream, for instance, on their commute in their car, where YouTube, I have to leave the phone on
open.
If I'm not.
That's exactly what That's exactly what I told Steph. Same thing. Like if I ever have to listen to an episode, I have to leave the phone open on the stand, as opposed to the SoundCloud. You can throw it in your pocket and you can listen to it while you're training, driving, working. So I could see the benefits of having it still on SoundCloud. So for sure, we'll definitely bring that back and put the last few episodes that we've missed up on SoundCloud. It'd be really sweet.
Yeah, and thank you to everybody who's been listening and supporting. I know Justin gets a lot of feedback. I've gotten a lot of positive support and love, so appreciate it. That's why we do it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think as Justin said in the past, like we're not getting paid for this. We get up early and do it just for fun and to inspire.
Yeah. One of the things I want to touch base on, I made a post just recently, I think, again, with one of the biggest questions I get through my direct message and also on my live feed was staying motivated and positive and happy. How do you get there? And we've been through this a few times. And, if you want to just give your little input on kind of what you do if you're in a rut, what do you how do you like to get out of it? What steps you like to take? Because for me, they're pretty profound. The steps between A and B, like B being the flow state where you're at the top of your game, consistently happy and motivated, in your workflow.
Right.
What do you do to stay there? How do you get there if you're not there? These are the biggest questions that I seem to get. How do you, pretty much how do you always stay at B,
Yeah. No, I think that's a great question. And I love that people comment about this. And I think you guys do a great job. A couple of things, there's three topics I'd want to touch on. The first is we talk about it a lot. It's kind of a self-care as the holistic overall catch-all, but it's making sure you're getting sleep, making sure you're eating healthy, making sure you're working out, and all of those inputs are consistent. You're taking care of yourself, etc. The other one is I'm a big fan of creating my own reality. There's a great podcast with Jason Silva and Tim Ferriss. If people at home just Google Tim Ferriss, Jason Silva podcast, it'll pop up. And Jason Silva is kind of a modern day philosopher, and he uses music in the mornings and at night to kind of set the tone for his day. And that's how he creates his own reality. So I think, one, making sure the inputs are there, making sure you're taking care of yourself. Two, we all have the power to create our own realities. So that's different for each person, but continue to do that. And then the third thing I would say is being kind to yourself. So like you'd mentioned on one of your videos, of course you get in a rut sometimes. Of course, you're kind of down at times. What I try to do is step back, and meditation has been a huge help for me to do this, but step back from those moments and look okay, are the inputs all correct? So for instance, Fridays, I get to work on Fridays and I'm just I want to get to the weekend. Sometimes it's worse than others. And if I look back okay, this is the 5th day of work in a row. I've been working out, I've been trying to get sleep. So this may just be a blip on the radar. And so that's the third thing that I would focus on for people at home. Look at what's going on in your life. If it's just a blip on the radar, try to get past it, try to fix it, and kind of look at it as this isn't the whole. It's just one moment, one day, etc.
That's true. Don't blow it out of proportion, if you will. A lot of people are well, I am doing everything right. And for me, it was even harder to really see. I was just having a conversation with one of my good friends last night, and he's actually starting to tap into that. Before nice. He used to go, he used to go into work, and he used to like just not like the people he was serving or being around, and then he realized he was just wasting too much time being angry, and it was affecting things outside of his work. It was affecting his training. It was affecting his relationship just by being angry. And he used to be like, and he used to not even realize it because it creeps up on you. You know, over time, you start putting up more of like don't fucking talk to me type of shield with the people that were coming into his work, because the people were just so mean. He had to build this thing to where they couldn't hurt him, they couldn't affect him. So instead of, he was doing a more so like, not a retaliation, but like he would put up a wall to let them know, like, not only can you fuck with me, I'm not going to even be like nice. Like, you just got to like shut the fuck up and deal with this, because I'm sick of all you people. And he realized this, which is really cool. So now he's changed. Like, he's realized that most of these people are just sad, and a lot of them are just trying to figure out their own shit. Most of them are really lonely and don't like themselves, and it's just self-reflection. So he realized, like, to let that person or let those things bother him is ridiculous. For one, it's almost like nonsense, right? It's like, how can you let that person who you don't know, who obviously has their own problems, who doesn't know how to work themselves out or figure out how to get rid of all the negative energy that they carry, except, to push it onto you. Like, you have a choice right then to either let it affect you or to see it or to not see it. And I think that's one thing that most people have trouble doing is learning to, like, understand that most people, when they act rude or like the neighbor upstairs, that person, he probably had like the shittiest day of his life every day. He probably has like not a great job, hates it. And the only time he gets time to himself is when he gets to turn on that music and like have his moment to himself. And then like the last thing he wants to do is cater to anybody, even if he is in the wrong. You know what I mean? Like, so like you said, like, you can either get pissed off and like let it ruin your day, or you guys can get upset by it, or you can just take the precautions that you need to do to like just to avoid that person, or you know what I mean? Or so it's cool seeing that certain people catching on to this type of idealism of like not just letting another person upset their day or let them control how they feel, or let them make them or have them get angry. He's now seeing it as nothing. Like, oh, that person is just who they are and they can't affect me. And we actually had that cool conversation where he's like, oh yeah, but I just have to make sure, when I go there, I let myself know, like, all right, we're going to have a good day. So he has to have the talk with himself. And it's cool that everybody has their own little thing that they do, this little routine. Ritual, if you will. Routine. Exactly. Yeah. And it's nice seeing like him figure this kind of stuff out just by chance, you know what I mean? I even asked him, like, how did you start figuring? He's like, well, I just didn't want to be pissed off anymore. Like, his girl mentioned one time, she's like, hey, you're not really good at customer service. She went and visited him at work one day. And he's like, really? He didn't notice it. She's like, yeah, you're kind of like, you're offstandish a little bit. And he's like, man, well, I just built that up over the years of dealing with Beverly Hills pieces of shit. Right.
Which is not difficult to do out in Beverly Hills.
No, not at all. And I used to work where he worked when I first moved here, so I understood full force. That's why I quit and started my own business, because the people were so bad. So like, I knew what he was talking about all too well, and it was a very real situation with these type of people that come through Beverly Hills and through that area. 1 second. It's 5:58. Okay. Someone's knocking on my door. Hold on.
All right, so I'll just step in here with Justin steps away. I think a big part of what Justin was talking about with his friend is a mental reframe. And so that's what's really helped me get through various low periods in my life, is mentally reframing how I look at things, how I look at my career, my friendships, etc. And I have a good friend, Angelia Riggs, who is also my hairstylist. And shout out to her and her wife, Ashley. And Angelia, being a hairstylist, would have different people in her chair. And of course, they have different mood swings, whatever, depending on the day, week, month, whatever's going on. And Angelia said that would reflect onto her and kind of make her pissed about the day or feel some type of way. And she eventually got through it by mentally reframing to herself that, hey, I can cut hair with my eyes closed and kind of asleep. And so what can I focus on to improve these people's lives that come in and see her, that sit in the chair? And once she made that reframe, not only did she get happier in her job and in her life, but she also found that the feedback she was getting from the people in her chairs was phenomenal, and that they had gotten happier, felt better when they saw her. And so, long story short, her clientele improved, how she felt about life improved. And so it is really like what Justin was talking about with his friend, a mental reframe, looking at life differently, looking at how we can go about our days differently.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And Justin.
I'm back.
Justin is back.
I'll tell you what happened real quick.
I don't know how I kept that going, by the way.
What were you talking about?
Just mental reframing, and how, like, the story about your friend, like, he reframed mentally. And so I told a story about a friend of mine, Angelia, who did the same thing, and it greatly improved her life.
Sorry for the interruptions. Dogs are going nuts, people pounding on the door, and there's about 12 cops outside my house just now.
What?
Yeah. Someone called. I guess there was a dude running around here with a knife. And they thought that we called the cops, so they were like super, like everybody had a hand on their gun. I'm not even joking, just now.
Wow.
And I'm like, yo, what's up? And they're like, hey, do you have ID on you? And I'm like, well, no, not on me. It's in my house. You want me to grab it? He's like, well, did you call the cops? And I go, no. I'm like, was it a girl that called the cops? Because my wife's here somewhere. Let me see if she's here. And she's like, no, I didn't call. She was in the bathroom changing. And she's like, no, I didn't call the cops. And I guess there's a guy running around here.
A normal Sunday in Venice.
Normal Sunday in Venice with a knife.
So you hit the door, and there's like a dozen cops out there ready to pull.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, good morning, everybody.
Hey, good morning. They're like, hey, you have your ID? And I'm like, no. I'm like, and then I asked them, like, do you want me to go inside and get it? like, are you nervous right now? Do you want me to move?
Yeah. You could have been like, hey, guys, I'm on a podcast. You want to come in,
That's
make
what
yourself at home.
I said, too. I'm like, honestly, man, I'm like, right now I'm in the middle of a podcast, and so I don't know what's going on. I'm like, I'll find my wife 1 second. And I found Steph. Did you call the cops? And she's like, no. And I'm like, there's another 1015 down the street off a different corner, man. They're probably down there waving that knife around if you want to go find them.
I love that you know the call signs now.
Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, cops have it tough out here, man. They really do.
They do.
They deal with a lot of crazy motherfuckers, and there's a lot of crazy motherfuckers. And out here in California, they all come out here. They migrate out here. It's warm.
Yeah, it's. I tell people, man, like the stories about growing up and living in Los Angeles, and people don't believe it. Like the airships when they're on top of you, like looking for a suspect at 2 in the morning.
And they're looking for Lindsay Lohan driving around.
Yeah, and they're like shouting down from the helicopter, and it wakes you up.
Lindsay, get out of the bushes. No,
they have the spotlight.
Yeah,
on.
we get that. Sometimes we'd be asleep with a spotlight, and guys, our crime actually isn't bad here. It's more so of like they're just a pain in the ass sometimes. Like they're not actually doing horrible things. Like I think only like honestly, in the past 7 years that I lived here, or 8 years now, I think I've only really read one horrible thing that happened. Everything else is always just like a nuisance, you know, just some drunk asshole across the street yelling with no pants on.
Every now and then there is that big city crime. You're like, oh shit, like,
that was weird.
That still goes down.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's strange. Like, I can't believe that happened. Everyone's kind of like weirded out by it. Venice, for the most part, even Santa Monica, like nothing ever really goes down. It's always just like the naked homeless person that's just causing trouble, pushing 7 grocery carts filled with everything possible.
The entire life.
Yeah, we got one lady. I actually want to get her a new grocery cart because the one she has is just not doing too well.
Wobbly wheels and stuff.
Broken wobbly wheels. I'm like, I gotta find this woman because she has this OCD thing where she needs both carts. And there's only one person pushing these carts. So she takes a cart and she pushes one cart about 200 yards or 100 yards, right? And then she goes back and gets the
other cart.
Post one cart up. So it takes her a while to get everywhere. And so I feel so bad. I'm like, and the grocery carts, they're just really beat up at this point. The wheels are like pretty much like cracking. So it takes her a lot of work just to move these carts. So I was telling Steph I want to like try to find like this really sweet cart with like some big fat tires so it's easy to roll over. Like,
ooh, yeah, that'd be nice. Like an off-roading type of car.
Exactly. Maybe a little motorized. You just press the button.
You can go through
like
sand.
a mile an hour. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, this is the stuff I think about when I see some of the homeless. I mean, how can I make their job easier so they're not so angry pushing this shit around?
It is really funny though. You're right. They're so nice. Like I remember, I would like pop out at Gold's at like 5:15 to go work out when I was living in LA, and there'd be like a group of them talking outside the apartment. And I'd pop out and they'd be like, "Oh, hey, morning, man. Like, sorry, I didn't mean to do." I'm like, "No, y'all are good."
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, they're fine. I feel bad. Like a lot of times we get guys that post up on the corner. And they're always usually nice, but I feel bad because you're always worried if like they're gonna be nice or if they're gonna be stupid or if they're gonna be dirty. A lot of times they just leave all their fucking trash right where like they were sitting. So you're just like but then you feel bad. I feel bad like man, these guys probably a lot of times have nowhere to sit because they consistently get asked like, hey, you got to get out of here. So it's they don't very get a chance to like actually sit down and be like by themselves without being hassled. So I never try to bother them unless they get super loud or weird for the most part.
Right. Speaking of people with their shit everywhere, I've seen you've had an ongoing battle this week, sir, with people re-racking their weights at the gym. Man. So have you found these motherfuckers? What's going on?
No, I don't waste time too much looking for the people doing it. I think what I've noticed with human beings is just if I can show them that I do it, they kind of follow, leading by example.
Lead by example.
Yeah. So, even within, I did it, I think 4 days out of last week. I went in on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, about a half hour earlier than my normal starting routine just to pick up as much as I can. I just use it as cardio. It's like an extra 30 minutes of cardio picking up weights, so it's actually not a bad gig. I don't mind it. But doing it, I've noticed that even at 4:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning while picking up weights, these other people are seeing me do it, and they start doing it within moments. And then I'll post a little bit about it, but not in a bashing way. You know what I mean? Just like, hey, let's clean up some weights, try to motivate people, and that works too. I'm getting like direct messages and stuff like that of people picking up weights themselves in their gym, and they're like,
that's
pulling.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I think that's all it comes down to. I think these young cats or not new gym people or even old gym people, I think a lot of times they just like, well, nobody's doing it, so why am I going to do it? Or it's such a mess. Like
or they assume that people there are going to do it, like the people that are paid to work at the gym.
It's most people's reactions like, man, this gym's a mess. They need to hire someone to clean it up. It's like, no, that's not what needs to happen. You need to clean it up yourself. Like, the gym isn't supposed to clean up after you, motherfuckers. The gym is supposed to just run the gym. It supplies working able equipment. It's not supposed to clean up your mess. And
right.
It's strange though. Like even like I notice sometimes that bathrooms, it's not even Gold's Gym bathrooms are gross. It's the people that are gross. Like I don't know who treats bathrooms like this. It blows my mind. I go into a stall and there's like, who throws toilet paper in the urinal? Like just shit tons of toilet paper in a standing urinal. And I'm like, the first thing I do is like, I feel so bad for the lady that's got to come in here and reach in that fucking urinal. Because this asshole just decides to throw a paper towel in the urinal. And then all of a sudden everybody does it. There's like unless it's one person grabbing handfuls of paper towels and just like dumping it in the urinal. Everybody's doing it, and it just blows my mind. It's just people do this thing where they easily just follow a pattern. It's strange. They've done like those studies on it, like where like you answer so many questions, you make $1 for every answer that you get on the test, and you don't have to be right or wrong. You just have to put an answer down.
Answer it.
Yeah, and there's like nobody finishes this test in like an hour or 2 hours, and they did a thing where a guy within 10 minutes was staged. He got up, handed his paper in, answered all like 300 questions or some bullshit that nobody even finishes, let alone within 5 or 10 minutes. And he collects like $1 for each, or it was like 20 questions. He questioned, his $20 for the test. But like everyone was like, holy shit. And they're like on like one question still. And it's been like 15 minutes and he finishes it. And then all of a sudden you see people stand up and hand in their paper and collect their $20. And like everybody was doing it. It was just simple studies showing that people aren't necessarily trying to manipulate and steal money, but just by human tendency, if they see someone do something like bend the rules a little bit, it becomes okay. It's like when you go to a four-way stop sign and everybody's rolling through it kind of. You almost do it yourself. You almost like get there and you're just doing it. Like, well, everybody's doing it. And it seems like that's a very normal pattern most people fall into, is like, oh, everybody's doing it. Same thing goes with the paper towels in the urinal, not cleaning up after yourself in the gym, realizing like, oh, it's only $20 too. Like if it was like $10,000, maybe they wouldn't do it. Mm-hmm. Right? If they wouldn't do it for that much money, because then it's like, whoa, this is some serious money, but it's only $20. So they justify it. They justify it's okay that I'm stealing or lying on this test because it's only $20 and that guy did it and this person did it and this person did it. So it's like this human nature that definitely still happens quite a bit and happens almost everywhere you go. It's why you don't see people picking up trash on the sidewalk, or you see people even litter. Like that blows my mind. But they're like, oh, well, there's already trash on the ground, so what does it matter? I mean, that's how their brain works. The same goes with weights. Like, it's
like a monkey see, monkey do type of thing.
So I realized you can't tell people what to do or how to feel. You literally have to lead by example. It's just how it works, because people can't understand it unless they see it a lot of times, or like it's just what they think is okay. What's the standard for social status, or not status, but examples, like how people do shit, and like that's how everybody does it, so that's how I do it. And it's literally monkey see, monkey do. So that's what it goes down with the gym. So that's why I realized, like, if I want to, I can't just be like, hey, these weights need to be picked up. Like, I need to actually pick them up.
Yeah. No, it's a great point. Outside of the personal accountability, because I think, like, for example, you eating vegan and eating less meat, someone else might be like, oh, I could never do that. And then they see somebody that they look up to or they follow and they're doing it. And they're like, oh, wow, I can do this now too.
Exactly. I think realizing too, like what you're capable as a human, like I realize that, I have somewhat of a voice pull, if you will. People tend to, they want to listen to what I'm saying. I have people that look up to me and that kind of thing. So people with that type of, I guess pull is the correct word, maybe, that type of influence.
Yeah.
Those people need to step up, if anybody. You know what I mean? Those are the people that need to lead by example and show people what's up, because people do seem to need a lot of guidance out there, and they honestly just go by like what they see. So me realizing this, I realized that you could just do a lot by leading and showing people, by doing those actual things and not just saying them.
Right. Or seemingly being charged a lot of money. And like you said, not just like $20, but thousands. And so you mentioned littering earlier. The state of Texas, that's where the term "don't mess with Texas" came from, because they were just getting fucking tired of people littering on the side of the road. So I shit you not, it's a fine of like multiple thousands of dollars. It's like $5,000 or $10,000.
That's how it should be.
If they find you littering, and it says on the signs, "Don't mess with Texas," and that's where the saying came from. But like, you drive around anywhere in Austin, man, or in Texas, and there's signs everywhere that's like, it's a $10,000 fine if we see you litter. Don't mess with Texas.
That's cool.
And it cleans shit up. Like it worked.
yeah. Like for certain things, I think the fine should be astronomical. You know what I mean? And then it's a real thing. Like, yeah, you just can't do that. There's not a slap on the wrist. People would have a lot more respect for things too. I think it's honestly too is like, I think most people just don't have respect for many things. Is one of the bigger problems with our gym and our bathrooms and like littering. For the most part, I think it's a strange thing that most people still go about not giving a shit.
Not thinking about other people. Like, we have the same problem at the YMCA here. From time to time, it's not as big of a deal because not as many people go as, say, the Mecca. But Dayla's been there, and we've been there lifting a couple times, and she'll go to the squat press machine, and there'll be 100-pound plate on there, and she'll come grab me and be like, "Hey, can you help me take this off?" And the person there isn't thinking like, "Oh, a dude or a big dude isn't going to be able to use this." They're not thinking about,
I don't think they're even thinking about that. I'm not even thinking about it if it's a dude, because it's even heavy for a dude to take off. Like,
yeah, because I went in like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this.
Yeah, 100-pound plates are no joke. They're awkward. They're big, and it depends on where you're picking it up and putting it down from. Like, it's not a heavy fucking. It's not a light object, and It honestly, I think, just comes down to just pure ignorance. I think they know they leave it on there. I think they want people to know that there was their weight or some shit. I don't even know. I don't understand, like,
to get some sort of kick out of it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They know they're being a dick. There's no way you can leave 100-pound plates on a machine and be like, yeah, it's cool there, right? Like, no problem at all. And it's like, that guy's a fucking prick. Like, I think he just leaves it there because he thinks that's what you're, like, that's what you do. You know what I mean? It's a weird fucking time sometimes, you know? Fucking.
It takes a village, man.
But I honestly, like, just not to sound like a broken record, it really just comes down to leading by example and showing people a different way of doing things. And if they'll follow you a lot of times, you know what I mean? So that's what I've been doing now, is just taking care of the gym a little bit more and showing up a little early. And it's not fucking hard. It takes 2 seconds to clean up an area. It really does. It really does. It's surprisingly fast. And put the 45s with the 45s and the 10s with the 10s and the 25s with the 25s. There's nothing worse than seeing a 45-pound plate over some 5-pound plates and some 10-pound plates. Again, like, where a small little girl has to, like, remove these 45-pound plates, you know, off a certain height too. A lot of these things are like awkward levels to where, like, these guys can injure themselves or drop something. So yeah, there's a lot of older women. I think of, like, what about my poor mom? Couldn't pick up a 45-pound plate. She's like 58 years old and she goes to the gym. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like,
when I used to work out
about, you know. So that's why I do.
When I used to work out in the same gym as my mom, same thing. Like, it was 25-pound plates, and she would, like, come ask me if I could move them because she wasn't going to be able to do it. And to your point, it's like there might be like a 45 and a 25 in front of, like, the 10.
The 10, yeah.
Even, you know,
and it
somebody
looks like
else.
Shit. It just looks like shit too. It looks ugly. It's like, I see it, dude. There's situations where I cleaned up the gym, even when I posted the other day, and I literally cleaned it. I come back and I think there was like 12 different 45s on the side of this machine, and the rack was like 5 feet away where they put all the plates. And that person literally just left everything there on the floor. And it's like, that blows. And there was like 12 plates on each side. And it's like, I don't get it. It's I think the gym needs to crack down too on just kicking people out when this shit happens. But again, I think most people just don't want confrontation. And most people that are leaving plates are pretty confrontational. Like, they're like ready to, like,
there's a theme.
Talk shit.
It's not just the
it
plate
goes
thing.
exactly.
It's like
so it's like even when I've seen it to where I've seen, like, some douchebag guy and, like, his girl, like, leave all the weight on and they, like, walk away, and I'm like watching the guy walk away. I'm like, I can either go up to that guy right now and be like, hey, yo, motherfucker, like, come take off your fucking weights, right? And I can spend 10 minutes with this guy. And then I was like, at the same time, like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to fucking show everybody, like, I'm going to take off this guy's weights. And everybody comes up and starts helping. They're like, oh, what a piece of shit. Yeah, like, what a fucking dick. Like, I can't believe it. And they all help. And then they all help cleaning up the rest of it. So sometimes, like, just a different avenue seems to work much, much better. Monkey see, monkey do. So
you're motivating me, man. I'm going to go to the gym after this and clean up after some people. Yeah, exactly.
The bathrooms are rough. Like, sometimes I feel so bad. Like, I'm not cleaning bathrooms, but, you know, I see some of these bathrooms and I'm like, these fucking pricks that are coming in here, and, like, how do you miss the toilet so profoundly with, like, it's easy to pee in a urinal. I don't think I've ever like, just pissed all over a fucking floor. Like, have you ever seen the pee on top of a urinal? Like on top of the
I don't know
middle
how
part.
it gets there.
And, like, unless this guy was 7 feet tall and hammered in the gym, like, he shouldn't be peeing on top of the urinal where there's pee puddles, like, on top. I'm like, this is phenomenal. Like, I don't understand this. Like,
well, there seems to be a problem holistically on the west side of California, because, like, the beach bathrooms that you've been into, that I've been into, it's like you have to tiptoe, and then you have to kind of, like, lean to one side to make it into the bowl without, like, getting yourself dirty.
It's one of those things. I think the crazy you get, like, the more stuff you got to pee on, it's really
territorial,
really fucking
marking
strange.
Your territory.
Because I know it's not like I honestly think it's like the crazy motherfuckers are going to the bathroom just peeing on. Because that's one thing too, is like Venice Golds gets a lot of clever homeless where they have memberships so they can shower, they can use the restroom, and they can be warm in the morning. Like the people that can afford just enough to have a membership, you know, they're in that gym by 4:00 when it opens. And a lot of them are like,
can get inside.
They get inside, which is, you know, I'm all for people, but like don't pee on things. Like, have a membership, be nice, don't pee on things.
Treat it with respect.
Like, just treat it with respect. Like, I'm all for that, but I mean, they're homeless for a reason, usually because they're peeing on everybody's stuff. You know, who knows that? That's probably the smallest, shittiest part about that person, is the fact that they pee on everything. They probably do a lot of crazier shit. So
is there still that road near the Mecca that has like it's
right behind us?
It's kind of like a homeless village.
Yeah, it became what's it called? What's the nickname they call it?
I'm not sure.
Skid Row. It's like our Skid Row.
Out on the west side.
Yeah, like that. Like I think, it's 3rd Street. Yeah, it's the 3rd Street right behind the gym, and that became like this spot where all the homeless post up. It still is too, and we really don't. It's kind of like a problem because we really don't know where to.
What to
push
do.
them or how to like motivate them to be cleaner. Because there's a lot of people that don't have problems with the homeless. The homeless aren't a problem. It's the garbage and the mess and
well, they're like living on the street, and so everything is out in the street in the open, and then there's people like
they collect
who
everything.
have houses and apartments.
Well, yeah, they collect everything. There's intelligent homeless, quote unquote, like people who live off the grid, and they got like a $600 tent. You know what I mean? Like they got their shit together and they pack it up. And then they clean up their mess and they move on, into the beach, and they enjoy their fucking day being a free spirit, doing their own thing. But that's like 2%. The other ones are these people that are collecting and stealing everything and like posting up back there and then like urinating all over the fucking sidewalks, like no disregard. And then when they leave there, they leave all their trash, they leave all their shit, and it's like, and then it just gets worse, and it piles, and eventually like the city has to come in, push everyone out, spray down the whole sidewalk like with like the craziest stuff just to like clean up the place. So it's a bit of a situation lately with these guys because they just get pushed into that one street, and it just so happens to be behind Gold's Gym.
Yeah, and it's been a recurring issue in California and in Los Angeles in general. And just, as a sort of history lesson, Justin mentioned Skid Row. Back in the day, like the 80s, early 90s, they would actually in Los Angeles pick homeless up on the west side because that was the touristy, trendy area, and then move them to a place kind of near downtown that was literally called Skid Row. And there was a lot of drug issues and the issues we're talking about now. And so thankfully, they aren't doing that anymore. It's interesting. I heard recently, so I can't verify this, but other parts of Texas with their homeless will put the homeless on a bus and pay for them to come to Austin because Austin actually has resources for the homeless and like places for them to stay. But then, of course, like we get more homeless and it's overcapacity. Like there's literally just in a fucking building like on San Jacinto and 7th Street here in Austin that's just for the homeless and like gives them a place to sleep, will help them get a job if they want to. But normally the line is like out the building, out the door.
Yeah,
around
and that place
corner.
will eventually go stale because it's not being taken care of. There's only so much money you can dump into it, and a lot of the homeless are extremely, like we said, disrespectful with like their stuff, their hygiene. I mean, they are homeless because they're not right for the most part. That's why they're there. So it's like one of those weird uphill battles that never gets solved. Because there's the gray area of like, oh, okay, well, the hopeless have to at some point be responsible, but that's never the case. You can never ask them to be responsible. It's like you're consistently take care of a child that pees on everything. So it's like this weird, like you said, situation. It's like kind of like it's like hokey pokey.
Yeah, it just moves people around, but
it's basically all it is. It's like you're moving people around just so you can spare some businesses some time that have to be around it. Like that's all I feel bad about. Like I can deal with a pissy smelling street. I just feel bad for this amazing bakery, or I feel bad for this amazing business that opened up, and then there's like homeless directly across the street showering, with their plastic cups naked in the street. You're making Venice sound fantastic.
Well, I was going to say there are people like that in Venice who are perfectly normal running around naked.
I know it's the funniest shit. Like I had my buddy one time who's like literally sends me a picture. He's like, "Yep, this is going on." Full-fledged guy, just completely naked, walking down the main street, past the dog park, like just strutting, just totally strutting. 6'5" white male, just completely
and
naked.
Like Justin said, it's not a bad part of town, but it is funny. Like
it's not at all.
Before you and I met, I was living in like Santa Monica by the promenade, and then I moved to where you would come hang out, like sort of on the Venice-Santa Monica border. And my property insurance was like, "Hey, hate to break this to you, but your property insurance is going to go up like $1.50 a month because it's like a little dicier over there."
It's really like, I know we're explaining it. Like it's just, I think the homeless are huge here just because it's warm year round. I must mention that, guys. Like, why does California have so many homeless? And it's because everybody migrates here, guys.
And people in general.
Yeah, that's true.
They just love it because it's like 72 and sunny every day.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful place to be homeless. If you're going to be homeless, come on to Venice. If you're going to be homeless, come to Venice. Anything else you want to touch up on, homie?
Well, I wanted to see, I downloaded the IAMBUILT app and playing around with it.
Nice. Have you guys gotten it?
Yeah, I think I'm going to try to use it at the gym. I've been following some of your workouts. I think I would need hardcore recovery afterwards. But I was curious, what's the feedback you've gotten? You guys have great reviews on the app.
So far, the app's going great. We're still figuring out certain things we want to switch on it. So basically, I don't know if I touched up on it last time, but so the app offers informational, instructional workouts. Not workouts, but exercises. Almost on everything in the gym, and we're adding like today we're filming 3 new exercises that aren't on the app. So we'll film 3 new instructional, informational exercises for everyday people who don't know what they're doing, that need a little bit of guidance, almost like just a virtual personal trainer from the app. And then we also have challenges, and these challenges that me and Steph come up with, and then we film those challenges, and they're usually like these really, really hard, training challenges, and they vary. They're always different. And then we also have a workout that we film, which we also do today as well, where it's a full workout that me and Steph put together for a specific body part, and that workout is also available. And then there's obviously the app itself is available for you to download for free, and then you have certain videos that you can unlock and pay for challenges or workouts, and then you have like the VIP, basically, which gives you access to everything.
Nice.
The training, the ebooks, chatting with us as well. Like once you're a VIP member, you can actually shoot us messages, and we get these messages, and we can respond through the app as well on any questions on exercises that you may have. So it's actually like a full personal trainer for like $21 a month, which is pretty sweet to be a VIP member. So yeah, we're excited. Like, it was a big hit right out the door. I think it's only going to keep growing, and we're figuring out how to categorize the app even better as we get feedback. Right now, I think we're just going to put all the informational, instructional videos with each other, and then we'll have like workouts, and then we'll have the challenges, and everything will be compartmentalized really well. So it's exciting. The feedback, everyone loves it. Everyone really cares for the app.
I think you guys have like 5 stars or whatever the max number of stars
so far right now. Yeah, I think we had 400 or 500 downloads the first day, and then the same on the second day. And then we really won't know too many of the logistics until like a full month goes by. But it's exciting. I think it's only going to continue to grow too, because we keep learning and getting better at it, But yeah, we're pumped. Anybody wants to check it out, it's the IAMBUILT for iPhone.
Really easy to find. Like, if you go in the App Store and just search I and then even space M, it'll pop up as one of the search queries. Just click it. You guys do a great job, you and Steph, of interacting with your followers and people who support you. Do you guys do that throughout the day, or do you guys try to batch it in? Because I imagine you guys get a lot of interactions.
I do it through the day. I'm really good about it, actually. So I am on my phone quite a bit, but I look forward to answering people and making sure they understand what's going on. For the most part, whatever it is I'm promoting or trying to get across, it really helps if I'm responding back. Just in general, just to keep building that community. So it's not too hard for me. I don't think it's very hard for Steph either, but we usually just do it through the day, answer them as we go. That way, I think if it goes too far down, a lot of times we won't be able to see a lot of the feed.
That's true.
That people are trying to contact or ask questions and whatnot.
Yeah, well, Dayla blew up a couple days ago, got like 1,500 followers in a day and a half, and she got she woke up, she was like, "Oh my God, I have 170 comments on one photo," and she's like, "I need to go to work. I don't know when I'm going to respond to those."
Exactly. Yeah. See, especially when you're transitioning into business and you're trying to, handle it appropriately, because you want to answer all the people that are asking you questions about your business or whatever it is you're doing or promoting or transitioning into. So it requires time, and getting back to people and taking the time to write them thoroughly and whatnot. And it goes a long way, though. I think that's one of the many reasons why our business has been so successful, is because we keep it very intimate for the most part. With most of our community or followers and whatnot, we make it a point to really answer their questions, because most people seem to be very confused on most subjects and topics. So we just always try to get back to them as much as we can. It helps out a lot. So the app, again, with that being a VIP, you can just ask us these questions, and it allows us to get back to you. It's pretty cool. I'm pumped for it. I think it's going to continue to do well.
Nice.
Yeah, man. And what else? What else we got?
So I have something funny that I wanted to mention in the beginning, but we're getting close, right, to kind of wrapping it up. So I think this might be a funny one.
All right, let's hear it.
So earlier you mentioned Jonathan Phillips, and I know part of the sponsorship of the podcast is everything is NC2A certified, and it's tested and all that stuff. Have you ever been drug tested? And then if you have, what's that experience been like?
Oh yeah, well, believe it or not, I used to be a drug testing technician.
I think we talked about this way back.
Yeah, I used to be a drug testing technician. I've had many jobs growing up. I was one of the people that I couldn't really. It wasn't the fact that I couldn't keep a job. I just got bored of other jobs, and I was trying to find exactly where I like to fit. So I think I've had many jobs, and one of them was a drug testing technician. I personally,
you had to have seen a lot of penises then.
Yeah, I don't actually see the penises. I just see the pee in the cups. So, but what's I've never been actually drug tested. No, actually, I've been drug tested before for a job before. I think probably for the drug testing job, actually. I was drug tested for it. It was fine. At the time, I wasn't even smoking marijuana. I didn't even start smoking marijuana until I was 28. So, yeah.
So no stress for that test, not worried at all.
Flying colors. It was great. If you're a pothead and you're had a drug test and they're testing marijuana and it's complete bullshit, I agree with you. Just drink a lot of water. Dilute it the first time, and then they'll get a retest.
I've had friends in the past too say, and I think this was an Office episode too, be like, "Oh, I was at a concert the other day, and there was a ton of like people smoking weed, and I may have gotten a contact high."
The best is just drink lots of water, and it buys you like a whole other drug test. That's what I always told my pothead friends. Like, man, I got to do a drug test. Like, what do I do? I'm like, just drink lots of water, dilute it, and then they'll send you back. Shouldn't be telling people this, right? Just dilute your water. Some companies do though, like fail you for being like diluted. Like they're
on to you.
You can't get in trouble, but they'll just be like, all right, we're not gonna even bother with hiring you. But times have probably changed. That was like 13 years ago since I was a drug testing technician. It was quite a long time ago. It was like when I was like mid-20s almost. So I'm sure that everything's a little bit different now.
So we could have overlapped. You could have been my drug tester because I got tested quite a bit at the University of Georgia being on the swim team.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
For, NC2A stuff. That's why I excuse me, got a lot of fun out of Jonathan's comment about NC2A drug tested because, again, I mean, I wasn't smoking either and I had no reason to be yeah, exactly. But I think it was me and a teammate of mine, Hans Gillen, who was from South Florida, and like people knew I was from LA, and he and I had like 8 drug tests our freshman year because I felt like they were just trying to pin it on us, and they were quote unquote random, but the rest of our team on average had like
8?
2.
That's pretty intense.
Oh yeah, and they would let us know 24 hours in advance. And then you'd get up that morning early. And so a lot of times it's your off day where you want to sleep in, where you don't have practice or training. And you'd get up, try not to piss, walk your ass or drive to the stadium, which is where they would do it. And then you wait in line, get your cup. You go through the bathroom, and there's a guy like yourself waiting there.
In the bathroom, though? In the stall?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, see, I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to see it, with all the penises that you were talking about.
Oh, yeah. So we'd go to the urinal, and they'd be like, okay, piss in the cup. You got to pull your pants all the way down. You got to pull your shirt up. And I'm there. I'm like, I don't have enough hands. Like, I can't. Can you hold the cup, maybe?
Hold the shirt in your mouth, yeah.
Yeah, and so because they want to see everything, and so then you got to piss in front of somebody, and then seal it, hand it back to them, and then even mark down anything that could come up as a like negative test. And so if I took a Claritin because of the pseudoephedrine, I had to be like, I'm a little sick. I took a Claritin last night, so they'd like clear you of that. Yeah, and then of course there'd be all the athletes from all the sports that got called in that morning, and not everybody can pee on command, and so there'd be a ton of people just drinking water. And walking around the stadium, and then they'd be like, "Okay, I'm ready," and they'd hand them the thing and run in.
Yeah, I'm surprised that marijuana's still on the chopping block, but as far as like testing goes, and they made it legal for. I heard they made it not legal, but okay to smoke on off days at the Olympics this last year. I don't know how that was a true thing, right? Was that actually true?
I would have to look into it. I hope so.
That's what I heard. Like in Brazil, where the Olympics were held, I guess you could smoke without legal. You can legally smoke just not on days that you were competing in an event. I don't know.
Basically, because they didn't want you to miss the event. Nothing else.
I think honestly, it's because I think they know everybody smokes before the event for like that focus. Honestly, I think all those marathon runners, a lot of these guys that are swimmers, they truly do train microdosed. That's a real thing, and so they like allow these athletes to still train microdosed. But we're just saying like don't smoke it. But obviously they are. They just can't test for it that way. Sure. You smoke the day before, you're still coming up positive. Mm-hmm. So they will never know if you smoke the day of or the day before. So I think it's just a nice loophole they allow guys to walk through for all these people that train microdosed or compete with a microdose with marijuana, because it is phenomenal. Like if you've never run a marijuana long distance or sprint or trained, it's something like you can never imagine. It's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. And the drug test in the Olympics, they test like the top 4 finishers. So I remember listening to an interview with this guy, Johnny Mosley, who did and he did ski moguls, and he got 3rd at one Winter Olympics, or 1st, I think. And he was like, you don't mind doing the drug test when you win a medal. And then like 4 years later, he did it again and got 4th. And he said, you don't win anything, but they hand you the cup. And they're like, you got to piss in it too, because you're the 4th place. Like, just in case
funny, right?
One of the top 3 did, and then you bump up. And he's like, that's anticlimactic. Like, I didn't get anything, but I still got to get tested.
That's so funny. Yeah. Man, I remember, like, one guy, he came in, and you would get, like, there was, like, all these little things that you could try to cheat to get past the drug testing. You know, like, there's, like, these heated urinal things that you could attach to your body. That
like taped to your leg type of thing?
Yeah, and because the way it was done, I tested females and males. And so I was just in a room, and then my room had like a tiny, like toilet or bathroom within the room that also had a door. So like they would like I technically would like, all right, like just show me like anything in your pockets or your shirt type of deal, and then they would go in. And that was it. That was like pretty much it. So that was like as far as I would get as far as investigating goes. At the same time, I was like, I personally didn't give a shit. The only ones I ever worried about were people that were like doing rails and driving 18-wheelers. Those are the guys that I worried about. You know what I mean? I didn't care. Good point. Yeah, I didn't care about the pothead fucking kid trying to work at fucking some grocery store. I was like, that kid needs to probably smoke weed to work at a grocery store. So it was more so it's like the people I really paid attention to were like truck drivers, people taking the stimulants, the uppers, to meet these quotas they were driving. That was the most important, because a lot of that was like a huge thing. Like a lot of these like truck drivers, a lot of times were taking these uppers, and those guys were being tested for pretty much like cocaine and whatever else they could get their hands on to drive these long hours, right, to make that money. So that was like our main focus.
Yeah, my grandfather was a truck driver, and he was driving before they allowed radios in the cab, because they said it would take the focus off of the road. Wow. And this was, way back. So can you imagine being a truck driver without a fucking radio, going cross country?
Yeah, it'd be pretty boring. Well, they just had the CB. They probably what the hell they did was
chat. They got the CB. My grandfather, and I can say it now because he's passed, R.I.P. Grandpa. But he built a little holder for a boombox. In his cab, and then it would like disappear. Like he could take it out, and it would like fold under the dash and stuff if anybody came in and checked. That's how he got around
There's no fun at work. There's no fun at work.
Yeah, and with the tested part, I had a teammate of mine when I was a freshman at Georgia, and he was a senior, and he got popped for marijuana, but he was fast, and so he was only suspended for like two meets.
Oh,
it was like, you have to be suspended for like 15% of your competition, and they were like, well, we need you on the team, so you just got to sit out.
We'll just bend the rules a little bit. Like, that's how it works. If you're good, you get to slide by. Fucking jeez. Well, dude, this is a fun podcast. I loved it.
Always.
Guys, be sure, again, to check out the app. IAMBUILT. Check it out for iPhone. Again, news on India. We're preparing for that. We're super excited. We leave at the end of the month. Possible 4 different seminars that me and Steph are going to be putting on. So if you guys are in India, check it out. I'll come back with more information on exactly the locations that we'll be heading. So that's a lot of fun. Anything else on your side?
That's it. Everybody have a great week. Thank you for listening. Thanks for all the love and support. And
right.
we're on a good cadence.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, thanks so much again for listening. Appreciate it. Same thing, all the love and support as always. Have an awesome week. Be sure to I got interrupted. Be sure to connect all those little dots between A and B to become more successful, guys. I think we really didn't get a chance to really touch on that. We had cops at the door ready to fucking shoot me for no reason.
Justin is safe. Everybody's fine.
I was like, "You have your ID?" I'm like, "I can get it. You want me to get it?" And he said first, like, "Well, hold on a second." I'm like, "Aren't you looking for a black male?" I'm like, because he was. He goes, "Have you seen a black male?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "No, I haven't." And he goes, "Do you have your ID on you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can get it." And then he's like super nervous. I'm like, "I'm obviously not a black male." It's like just
next time invite him in for the podcast.
Be like, "Hey, that's what I said though." I was like, "I'm on a podcast right now." I'm like, "I don't even know where my wife is right now," and she was in the bathroom. So thanks, guys, for listening. We'll up those also on SoundCloud and YouTube. We'll keep those consistent for you guys. We'll try to pick up here for next week. Same time, same place. Thank you, Sean, so much. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, guys. Likewise, Justin. Peace, everybody.
Bye-bye.